Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Snowman and welcome back to another Reinhardt VOD review. Today we are going to be reviewing Katsu MX over here with the swaggy Soul Dynasty skin. This is around high plat, low diamond this game. And yeah, we're just going to be reviewing like any other VOD review. We're going to be reviewing this Reinhardt's mistakes, what he does well, things that he needs to work on, etc, etc. So yeah, that's about it. We're gonna speed it up just for this intro here, and then we're gonna slow it back down. If you haven't watched any of these before, I do these pretty regularly. You should totally like and subscribe to show your support for the series.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, let's slow it down here.
Defend objective
So
A.
let's just analyze some things with your team comp Katsu. So you automatically know you have BAP. You don't have Lucio, which kind of sucky to play Ryan without a Lucio, but I think you'll be fine. You have a shit ton of heals on this comp. You have Ana and BAP, two very high burst healing heroes. Now, as for their team, they don't have the BAP. They don't have the immortality field, which, for those unaware, that is literally the strongest ability in the game. Maybe the second strongest ability. It's extremely busted, basically an ultimate on E. Yeah, let's just see how we play this. Your pathing here is a little weird, but doesn't particularly matter. I don't know why you would go through this room over main, but it's whatever. Not that deep, totally fine, I think. Okay. We'll watch this fight once at normal speed before we go back. I think. Very quick shatter. Way quicker than that, guys. Alright. Let's watch this back. Where are we? Okay. So you're out. Fire strike for alt charge. Gets bubbled. You have good timing on the bubble in order to swing. Now, if they were smart, well, actually, you know what they kind of do. I don't know if they do it conscientiously, but you know, whenever the enemy Rhine uses bubbles, that's your time to, or well, whenever the enemy Rhine has his bubble off, whenever the Zarya has no bubbles, that's really the time to W key. You get really low here. And honestly, you basically win this fight off of lamp. Right here. Your lamp gets really low. If they broke that lamp there, because the Zarya was on an off angle. Behind you. And she's just farming you, basically. Like 150 HP there, probably. The lamp gets to 5 HP, maybe. I don't know. Either way, the lamp gets really low. You're very smart to shield it here. You probably should have been shielding earlier. I would say in a lot of situations, lamp matters more than like saving a teammate. Honestly. I don't know if I'd say that this is one of the situations, but if it can keep you in the fight longer and prevent you from dying, shielding it is very valuable. So I would say shield this lamp quicker. Yeah, it does end up dying there to Lucio, but it's not that deep. You get healed up, but that gives you so much time, that lamp, in order to get healed up. You get slept here, not that big a deal. You get woken up instantly, and it's not in a super dangerous position that you get slept. Oh my god. Did not mean to click that button. There you are. So, you're like 20 ahead of this round. You get a huge fire strike here. Yeah, that's a 4-man fire strike, 4-man fire strike. Your fire strike usage is good. And then you start W King. You know you have Shatter. There's almost no way that the Ryan would expect it. So you do lose your Ashe here. Your Kree does end up killing the Doom. That's interesting. Your Kree does end up killing the Doom, so it's kind of an even trade. Your Ana ends up getting a nutty sleep off on him. But I think you were very intelligent to go for this Shatter. There was almost no way the Ryan expected you to have it. And even if he did, not very likely he blocks it anyway at this rank. Mess up the pin there on the Ashe, but not that deep. She dies anyway. Okay, let's watch that one more time. I would say your pathing to taking space is a bit dangerous. I'll show you what I mean when I see it. So your bubble's gone. So now you know that you're in when basically your entire team is out. So as I said, your pathing taking space is dangerous. I don't think it's bad here. I think you're going like the correct path and stuff. You probably swing for a bit too long. I would say that Fire Strike was too aggro in particular, and that's why you take so much damage here. Now, another thing to consider is the path you're playing in. You're going for a very wide angle, and what I mean by that is you're playing sort of out here. You gain a lot more by just playing this wall. Only time on Rhine where you shouldn't be against a wall. Well, 2 times. One, when there's really no good wall to play on. And 2, whenever your team is out in the open and you have to play around them. Not saying that's good of them, but you should always try and remain close to cover. Natural cover. So, you know, this right here, not very great natural cover. This lamppost, not nearly as good as this. And so what that means is, unfortunately, you have a lot more spam hitting you. Now here, the only things that are really able to hit you more is, I guess, Lucio at this very moment. But it's 100% good practice to get in. You need to be playing this wall. You're playing out super far in the open, and you're also shielding like a lot of useless stuff. Like you're not even shielding the choke as much. Like right here, you should be. Let's see if I can get the exact moment this movement happens. Okay. So here, you're probably good. This is a good position right now. I would say this Rhine is playing too far from the wall. By wall, I mean, I'm referring to this wall, the clock tower. So let's slow it down a bit. You go out towards here. When all that does is open you up to more damage. You should probably go further towards here. Now, you are, maybe the reason you're doing this is to play in better LOS of your Ana. I feel like that's not, but the Ana should be jiggle peeking that anyway. That's totally fine if you're not doing that. I would say that's totally okay, at least. You're very lucky you live here. Huge lamp from the bat. It was a very good lamp placement. Lamp timing, I suppose. Now you end up going towards the corner here. You're right to play the corner. And then you go out into open space again. So you need to think about your positioning a little bit more deliberately, I think. What value you get from being in open space versus on this corner. Now, because you go out into open space, you get this huge fire strike right here. Yeah. 35% fire strike there, which is crazy. And then you end up pushing up really aggro to play this corner. I would say, I don't know if I'd say necessarily you're a little too aggressive here, because it does end up working. But you catch them off guard, for sure. That is exactly what happens. You are 50% ahead of this Rhine in alt charge. is that fire strike. Your fire strike placement is very good here. Yeah, I think cool your jets a little. It's okay to push aggro, but you need to make sure you have follow-up. And if you didn't have this shatter here, you wouldn't have had that follow-up. You were your own follow-up essentially, but just need to be very, very, very careful about when you're pushing the W key like this. So we'll see if that ends up getting you killed at, oh fuck, I'm gonna click that button. So we'll see if that ends up getting you killed at some point during this game. You get off this shatter here. Really, really good shatter. The Rein can't react in time. Mad 'cause bad. And then you cap the point. Now let's see how this next fight goes. Okay. So another issue I'm instantly realizing. And it goes back to what we were talking about over here, actually. You're pathing to taking space. You go to the castle door, and I mean, that's not super bad. But it's kind of pointless. You'd be much better off playing this corner. If you were here, like right now, and at this corner, instead of there, well, the Ryan probably wouldn't have pushed up to this point anyway. He'd probably be dueling you on this corner. But regardless, it would be insanely high impact to be here, preventing things from pushing up, and you could also block the Ana heals on this Rein. This Rein's naded and getting pocketed. Let's see how this goes, though. Okay, you land the pin. Let me go back a few seconds.
Objective lost.
You land the pin, but he gets bubbled. Now, that Rein, I think he gets out here because he's gonna get pocketed now. If you played here, that Rein probably would have died there. If he was pushed up, and if not, you'd be dueling him on the corner, building another shatter already. But either way, that wasn't too bad. It just you need to get this Doom's like hard smurfing, I think. You just need to consider like what value you get by going different places. And you don't get a lot of value by going to the castle door, not at all. You get a lot of value by going here. You prevent them from taking space. You either prevent the Rein from going up here, or this Rein goes in and feeds. Either or, both are totally good outcomes. You don't have any ults online. They have Nano already, and so they go in with this Nano Doom, which what one? This bat puts down his lamp, and before it even hits the hits the ceiling, or not ceiling, before it even flies up, this Doom punches it. That's funny. Your Bab's in a really stupid position there. I don't know why he went onto that corner. Or went onto the wall. Coming up on a lot of ults. Oh, speaking of. Grab here. You're low. You're okay. You were good to play a bit reserved even when they first take the grab out. I probably would have just swung into that instead of panning. I don't think it's a bad pin though. I also don't think you need the Nano at all, but that's all right. Not really on you. Okay, well that's all good. You know, I would say you should just swing into this once you get nanoed. You'll end up doing more damage to more things. You could probably get more ult charge. Unless it was only a 2-man. I guess it was only a 2-man. So maybe then at that point, pin's probably better. You push up, try and take space. Okay, it is a very tiny micro thingy, but you fire strike this choke here. Oh boy, Lucio looking stretchy. But you already have ult charge. You already have your ult, I mean. So what was the point of that fire strike? all that really happens off it is now the Ana gets to heal like 200 health more, which, or maybe more. I don't know. Maybe it was like 300, maybe 400. I don't know. Either way, you don't get any value off that. Fire Strike should be used as a tool to get ult charge in 99% of situations. It's not for kills, you know. I mean, you can get kills with it, but not super consistently. So you end up giving your healers a bit more ult charge, and you end up not really getting any value, except you get more hero damage done, which is cool, I guess, but pointless.
Thanks.
Okay, so their Kree's dead early into this fight. Once you see that, well, you pin into here, and then you get hesitant and back out. I get, you go into castle. I think the reason you do this is to meet them and brawl with them, which is good. A good instinct there, but yeah, you probably can't really brawl with them right now. And then you end up going back to point. And I think you recognize that, which is why you turn around.
Thanks.
Yeah, you decide, like, yeah, I'm just going to die if I go here. So you back out, and then you hold cart. That's fine. They're taking high ground now. I would be very surprised if they lose this fight. Because now they're going to have their Hanzo free firing from main, and they can drop on you, etc., etc. I think they'll win. They also have grab up, and they'll probably get meteor strike, especially with how this game's playing. Your Ashe is split. Yeah, it's gonna be a rough fight. They mess up the shatter. All right, so let's try and turn this fight from a loss into a win. Let's try and do that. Think of what you can do. You block that. That is an insane block. That was very good. That was very, very good. I'm actually impressed you did that. I don't even know if you, as an individual, can turn this fight into a win. With your Ashe. Yeah. Ashe wasn't getting much done there.
Team kill.
So there is one thing, and this is a lesson in general. With Overwatch. You want to control the tempo of the fights, and you don't do that here. What ends up happening is they ult first. And because they ult first, they just end up winning. They use Shatter and Grav. And they kick ass with them. Well, they don't kick ass with the Shatter because you block it, but either way, they control the tempo of this fight because they're going first. Ana gets off a pretty big nade here. They grab and they shatter. They all W key into you. You have Lucio, Doom, and Rein on you. And they're controlling the tempo of the fight here. What you want to do as a team, and this will help you more when you start scrimming, which I'm pretty sure you said you wanted to start doing. What you want to control the tempo of the fight. So what I would say, you need to get off your ults. Now I can talk about what I think is the call here right now. Window. The odds that they grab or shatter then are very low. But we can't really focus on that. We need to focus on your shatter. Because this is, you know, this is just ranked. Yeah, I don't really think there's anything you could have done this fight. But you want to, in general, take the tempo away from them. You want to go first with ults. Maybe that'll be relevant next fight. Let's go see.
Team kill.
moving up fine. Your team is like super split. I don't know what the fuck's going on. What are you doing here? I think... Okay, so I think you called to go to clear high ground. Or someone called it. If someone called it, that is 100% the correct decision. However, your team's pathing to do it is pretty bad. I don't think you really make many mistakes in doing it here still.
Team kill.
There's your team. I don't know. It seems like someone calls to clear high ground because you all end up going that way. So you're playing out in the open here, which is very much not good. You're giving them a lot of really good angles on you. I think what you're trying to do is rotate and guard the rotation. Your Ana and your Ashe are playing behind you, and you recognize that, and you want to shield them. But honestly, you're not even shielding them. So I don't know if you use your mic in ranked. It's also not super consistent, even if you do. But what I would advise is telling, okay, you kite back for this Ana, and you protect her. But still, yeah, your Ashe gets picked by an unlucky Storm Arrow. That really isn't on you either. Now let's see once this fight gets in here. Okay, so it's even is the thing. It's even. This fight is winnable. Good window. He dies. Huge purple on you. Nice pin. I don't know. Your pathing to get here was bad. And that's why your Ashe dies. But honestly, if your Ashe didn't die to the Hanzo playing a bit too aggro, or if the Hanzo didn't die, it could have gone either way, really, at that point. Once a Doom gets in your face, or once the Doom gets in your face, you decide to focus more on him instead of W King. Probably safe in light of you being purple, your Kree being purple. Both of your supports are dead at this point, too. How do they die? Let's see if you could have prevented that. Because your BAP windows... What I think you should have done, and this goes back to going first with ultimates, and the way you could have turned this fight into a win, is opening with Shatter instead of window. Even the thing is, even if the Shatter isn't huge, it can still be very, very high value. You know, at this point, you'd probably be terrified of just shattering into a shield or a bubble or something, and that not working out well. But let's see. I think you could have gotten the Shatter off here. But even if you shatter into a shield or bubble, I mean, what it comes down to is being liberal with shatters is something I've had to work on too, because the more shatters you use, the more shatters you build. And so you've been holding this shatter for a pretty considerable amount of time here. And I think you should have used it by now. I think you should use it here. The Doom goes into you with Meteor Strike. I don't think you should have S-keyed. The Ana gets a really good nade on you guys. But still, I think your team should have been able to follow up on this Shatter if you do it. Also, you can shatter, like, if you shatter here from this staircase, it will go over to here. Just in general, that's a pro tip I can wald, I guess. As soon as that bubble goes down, you should have shattered, I think. If you could have shattered their tanks, or even just one tank, it would have been huge. Would have opened up a lot of space. The Doom probably still pops off, though. Because the Doom pops off down there, you probably still lose the fight. Advice for dealing with Doom, though, you know, you can countercharge him, or counter punch him, I guess. I don't really know. I mean, it's a charge for you. But I don't really think you could have done much of that fight either. So let's see what you do with this shatter. Do. Okay, again, setting the tempo. That's how they're winning these fights. They're setting the tempo. They decide to W key into you and fuck you up. Now, what are you doing there that makes you not block the shatter? I think you go on the Snoon. You realize he's out of position. Okay, your Zarya dies really late. Or really early. I don't know if she got out or not. But honestly, once your Zarya dies, you probably should have just peeled back. I think you guys are going in to help her. I'm not exactly sure. Doom is literally one. Yeah, okay, Zarya goes in too early. That's what happens. And they push her. They push her because she's a complete idiot. And that's a huge mistake from her. Yana tries nading, but it doesn't matter. Sleep the Doom. You see the slept Doom and you want to kill it. Makes sense. But because you're focusing on that, you end up getting shattered. Now, here's the thing. Your job as Reinhardt isn't really to clear an off angle. And that's, I don't know if I'd count this as an off angle, but that's what we're going to call it for this instance. Your job as Reinhardt isn't usually do that. Usually. So I think you should have just been more focused on the front line. In my other Reinhardt VOD review, I go over how you need to decide which angle is the most valuable to cover with your shield. And realistically, Ana and Reinhardt way more valuable angle to, well, Ana, Reinhardt, Zarya, I think, was all here. Way more valuable angle than just the Doom. So your target focus there was pretty bad. But on the bright side, you have all the tools to win this fight now. You have 5 ultimates online because they've been going first. They've been taking the tempo.
Bob, do something.
What on earth? Okay, well, I mean, at this point, your Ashe is just throwing. Your Ashe and Bap are like in the middle of fucking Tahiti. Not much you can do about that. And your Ashe decides to bob and go Tracer. Huge. You really couldn't have done much that fight. Unfortunately, you're down 2. I think the good, you know, as the main tank, people will typically follow you to an extent, at least. You should have just backed out sooner. I don't think it was bad that you backed out at this time, but there was just no reason to even push up to here to this choke. I think just kiting. You're down Zarya, you were down your Bap and your or Tracer. I don't remember what died. I think it was Ashe and Bap, or Tracer and Bap. But I don't see where, I don't know, whatever. Regardless. Yeah, it was earlier, I guess. Either way, you were down numbers. Really no point to push. So what's happening here is you're getting killed in your rotations because they are taking the tempo away from you. You had every tool to win, but they just take the tempo first. They engage first. They didn't even engage with dragons there. The dragons was kind of useless. The fight was already won for them. Pushing up here. Zarya should have saved that bubble. Something that a lot of lower elo Zaryas do is they just bubble for energy. You should really use bubbles to respond to cooldowns more so. You'll get less energy, but you'll make them end up, the enemy team, using more resources on you, which is what you want to do. Not a ton you could have done there. You end up pinning to cart. Let's see that. I think this is a pin. Okay. Well, so you get nanoed. And I think that's why you pin. A bad engage is a bad engage, whether you're nanoed or not. I don't think you could have done much to flip this fight on your own. And you know what? I think you could probably beat these two. But probably doesn't matter. You've been holding this shatter for a century now. You probably could have used one. They've gotten 2 shatters off in this time. You probably could have used your shatter and built another one, even if it was a bad shatter. Be more liberal with your shatters, 100%. Now, you guys are intelligent to finally go and clear high ground. So that's good. And you swapped to D.Va. Good pick. Good pick to help clear the high ground. And as well, you kill Lucio here. Yeah, I mean, it's... I think this comes down to being more liberal with your shatters. Pro tip as well. Pretty minor. But with your fire strike here, I guess you try and hit the... Well, actually, that's fine. Never mind. What I was going to say is if you're doing like a long-range snipe fire strike, it's probably not worth it. It's probably better to just go for some sort of choke. I would say this one's better just because people more usually come through that one, but this one's not too bad. So you kind of do it there too, and that's fine. In order to build alt charge, but again, comes back to this. You already have your alt. You've had it for a while. I think you hold your shatter a little too long here. Whether that would have... And you finally get it off, and you get punched out of it. So that really, really sucks. I would cry. And then you countercharge him there, which is good. Oh, this is winnable. Oh, maybe not. Okay, let's see. As soon as you see this Rein come out this path, I would meet him. I don't think I would stay over here. And the reason is it can be reasonably assumed that wherever the Rein goes, the rest of his team is following. That's not exactly happening here, but, well, let's see if it happens, actually. Well, they're TPing out. It probably isn't happening here, but it can be reasonably assumed. And if you meet this Rein, you probably give the Doom a bit more space, but it's going to be more consistent. Especially in light of you having Shatter and the other guy not having Shatter. You know that he doesn't have Shatter because he used it. At least I think he's used it. Yeah, he used it last fight. So I would just go meet this Rein here. Help with the follow-up on him. He ends up living because you're not there. And if you killed him, you almost definitely win this fight. Almost definitely. Your BAP has to use Lamp to protect you because you get punched by Doom. And then the Zarya follow-up is right behind him. And because because you're here and you need that lamp in order to live, he can't lamp the meteor strike. And that's not exactly your fault. I love how stretchy these like the avatars get whenever they're in the middle of animations. So funny. Anyway, sidetracked. Yeah, you should have met the Rhine. You should have just met the Rhine there. At least I think so.
Complete.
Okay, let's speed this up and see
Initiating match.
what you do on defense. I think you play more Reinhardt.
Ready. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I'm assuming you're playing up here in order to fire strike the door. That's fine. No problem with that. That's good. And you can get fat ult charge off it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's really important in the Rhine matchup. You get 6, see?
Defend objective.
Let's slow this down. Oh, and get more. Okay. So their Rhine makes a similar mistake to what you did, but actually worse than you. He ends up rotating around this, not shielding any of his team, and taking a really wide angle for no reason. You're smart to play this corner. That's definitely what you want to do.
Defend objective A.
But you give a lot of free space here. So you go over here to get the fire strike. I don't think that's too bad, but you probably should have just stayed main. Can this tree not be in the way?
Defend objective A.
Routing turrets forward barrier.
You get punched there. You give them a lot of free space here. They're W keying and it's catching you and your team off guard, I think is what happens here. But you give a lot of free space. Make them fight for this space. You should be brawling. Like, their Rhine doesn't have any ult charge because he hasn't had time to brawl. I mean, honestly, if he was here, he wouldn't have had time to brawl anyway. But you basically haven't swung on anything yet. Play this corner. Don't just give it up. Whenever you get punched by the Doom, well, I would say counter charge it, first of all. But if you can't do that, I would say try and retake the space. Don't just go back to playing the next corner. Unless they have something like, don't try and retake the space if they get, if they have some sort of stun or something. They already used their punch, so you know they don't have that. But something that by retaking the space, you can basically just get instantly killed. I mean, they have Hanzo, which, you know, storm arrows, balanced ability, etc. But that's not like a McCree stun or something like that, you know? But they don't. So I would try and retake that space. You get the Ana kill. Well, your D.Va gets the Ana kill. But it's pretty costly. It costs her mech. And she's probably going to die there. You're right to finally start swinging on Rhine. But I think you should have been doing it sooner. Oh, Rhine's won. Oh, Rhine dies. This is winnable. Doom's going to go in and kill your entire team, isn't he? Okay. So right here, I can see the hesitancy in how you play. You're not sure what to do here. Basically. So I'll tell you the answer. The answer is you have to clear one of these angles. When I say you, I mean your team. Your team has to clear one of these angles. Unfortunately, they are, you know, pressuring you from here. This Hanzo ends up going over to here. They 100% are Wow, your Ashe can't hit him once to kill him. That's crazy. I think you've made mistakes here, obviously, but I think your team, the rest of your team, has made a lot more. You see, with your shield going back and forth like that, I can notice that you're pressured. I can tell. You're afraid of this Zarya pushing you. You're afraid of this Hanzo. Your Lucio pushes up, I think, to get him out, but dies. Which he shouldn't have done that, probably, at least not with that pathing. If you go over here, then maybe. Lucio is good at pressuring off angles, but not like that. Either way, they just have too many angles on you. Rein is best whenever all the damage is coming from as few angles as possible. So if all the damage is coming from one angle, that's where Rein is at his best. That's not what's happening here. There's two, arguably three. Well, not three yet, but there's going to be three. Ana's going to come back. Well, there could be three, is what I should say. If someone comes back and goes this route. But you need to clear one of these angles. So how do you do that? How do you do that with Reinhardt? Well, you can't do it very easily alone. Oh, if only you got the counter charge off there, that would have been good. So the easy solution, especially when you have your Lucio, I don't know if your Lucio was on speed, but he should have been on speed. Just go on this Hanzo. If you can kill this Hanzo, then you only have one angle to work out. So what I would have done here is you have your Lucio with you. You need to speed onto him. Whether your Lucio will speed or heal or whatever, who knows? But your Lucio pushes up on his own and ends up dying for it, and you stay sterile here. After your Lucio dies, I mean, it's very unlikely that you manage to flip this fight. From the moment your BAP dies, it's very unlikely. But let's say your BAP isn't dead. Clear this angle. You could try and clear this angle, but then the Hanzo's just going to shoot you in the back. He's way more threatening at range than a Zarya or a Doom. So you need to clear out this angle, basically. If you had your D.Va still in mech, it would be a lot easier, but you don't. And also, right here, you might as well just die on point. Overwatch isn't a game about KD. I mean, getting out allows you to fight quicker, so I don't think it's a bad decision. So either or. You're also right to hold the high ground here. You have a lot of heroes that take advantage of it. You have Ashe, Kree, Ana. Or wait, not Ana, BAP. Switch to Hog. Hog's good at pressuring off angles too. So you do the rotation of high ground.
Stop the payload.
If I expect that Rein there, you're still so ahead in Earth Shatter percentage. This Rein is not good. I think there's a severe main tank diff. You are definitely better than this guy. Okay. So you want to pressure the Hanzo here, but you end up dying for it. You need to consider when respawns are coming. You need to consider respawns in general. You can check the tab screen and basically always know when the enemy team is alive. And you end up dying for it. Basically, their entire team's back. And honestly, pushing the Hanzo in general alone is dangerous, as almost any main tank. But yeah.
Thanks.
I would not have pushed that there. It's okay to play patient. You play some situations too aggro. And if you're gonna take space like that, you need to make sure to have follow-up. And you need to do it in the least dangerous way possible. Okay, they're pushing up. Let's see. They're coming back. Okay, you end up dropping here whenever you're pressured by the Reinhardt. I don't really think you need to. I think what I would have done there is drop to the cart and shattered. Whether you drop this way or this way doesn't matter much. This way is probably safer, but dropping and shattering there would have been great. And they have no shield with them. Their Rein's off in La La Land like a dumbass. This Rein is making a very bad play. Or you could have tried solo shattering the Rein. This Rein's doing absolutely nothing right now. You have the freest shatter of your life in this entire rotation from the Rein. You need to be more liberal with those shatters. But instead you die with it, which sucks, but it happens. I think you win this fight, and then you finally use the shatter, and you shatter into a shield. You had a really free one here. I think you should have gone for that. But that's okay. Get to the next fight. I need to figure out how to make these videos shorter. I need to not ramble as much. Okay, let's think about this fight before it happens. You have every resource to win this. You have 3 ultimates online. You're 2 and you're about to get a 3rd. They have no ultimates. They used basically everything in the last fights. You're giving them a lot of free space here. You have this Hanzo being able to free fire here. Which, you know, he's pretty far back, so that's understandable. You have Rein walking across the bridge for free. They're super split. Like, super duper split. They're really close to the checkpoint or the end point of the map. So I get why you're playing cart. You don't want to get C9'd or anything like that. So that makes sense. I don't think that's necessarily bad here. Play the front of cart instead of behind cart. They kill their Doom. It's even right now. I think you should win this fight. You're brawling with Rein. You now have the window. Whenever you get a window, you should probably just kite back and fire strike through it. You might have been able to kill that Rein. You might have been able to kill the Ana, honestly. You might have been able to kill the Hanzo. Anything. Because, you know, it does 200 damage. Totally busted. They end up fire striking there, but it's after he's nano, so it's not as valuable. Zarya dies. You're trying to cover a lot of angles at this point. So, like right here, try shielding main. You look around there to see what's going on there. Fire strike the Hanzo, he dies. You're very low, but you're okay. Okay, that was a pretty good fight. I think you should have been holding up further, not giving them as much free space. Making sure though that you're still within the LOS of your Baptiste. Of course, now he's gone at this point, but he won't be gone for long. But I think you should have been playing up here, a little bit further up, just to not give them as much free space. You know, make them fight for it, as I said. Make them use cooldowns, etc. That is a dangerous as fuck pin. Let's analyze that a bit more in depth. You get slept here. Your Hog and your Ashe are high ground. Totally totally done with them. Now, if they were still alive, I wouldn't say that pin would be bad because you're pinning into your team essentially. But it's a bit late. You're slept. You couldn't have possibly pinned in earlier. And your target focus is on the Hanzo there. I think I'd shatter right here. Yeah, okay. You get it blocked. Unfortunate. Okay. So you lost. That's okay. So few things. I'm really bad at editing chat, but what I'm gonna try and do is on screen I'm going to put some things that I think need to be changed with your play, Katsu. One, you need to recognize safe pathing, and what I mean by that is things like at the very start of the game, right here, playing walls, playing corners, not going into wide angles, so not going into open space like here or like here. You should be playing these corners, either or, honestly. This corner is arguably a little bit better just because it's closer to your team, but this corner is not too bad either. And you're kind of playing that at this point, but you weren't before. So one, recognizing safe pathing to the enemy team. Two, you need to be more liberal with that shatter. Shatter is a very quick to build ultimate. And the more shatters you use, the more you get off. Makes sense. There is, I mean, honestly, you probably could have built 2 more shatters in your second point attack, just by using them. And you get this shatter here. Look, man, if you have 1 more shatter like that on this point, you probably cap second, to be honest. You have good shatters. You just need to use them more. Well, okay, actually shatter into a shield twice in this game. So you know what? I mean, that happens. That happens. You have a lot to pressure shield, but that doesn't happen a lot with lower elo hit scan players. But they should always be doing, shooting something, when it happens. So those 2 things: be more liberal with your shatters, play more safe pathing. What else? What else did we go over? Rotation. You need to, as Reinhardt, you need to make sure your team gets through to do these rotations. I don't know what time it was at, but there was one point where you were crossing right here. It might be right here. I don't think so. I think you still had Zarya. It wasn't here. It was earlier. You need to make sure that your team gets through rotations safely. Your Ashe ended up dying here to a Hanzo. You should try to prevent that. Sure, it's an even trade, but still not good. So that, you need to make sure your team is safe through rotations. And later, you need to not give, well, you do it a few times throughout the match. You need to not give free space. Your HP and your shield HP, both a resource. Make them have to use things in order to do their objective, whatever it is, killing you guys, getting to point, whatever. You need to make sure that they use cooldowns and time. Of course, time is a very important resource. So yeah, that. Those 4 things, I'm gonna try and put those on screen. If I don't do it, it means I couldn't figure it out. I'm gonna try and make these videos shorter, organize my thoughts a bit better. I think that'd help a lot. But either way, guys, Katsu, you do very well here. I think this was an unwinnable game. I really think this was an unwinnable game. This Rico guy, complete inter. One of the worst players I've ever seen. That's an exaggeration. But Rico, if you're watching this, bro, stop feeding. Toxic. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have not already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.